Once upon a time, there was a girl named Maya. Maya was carefree, adventurous, and free-spirited. Her beautiful smile would light up the whole room. The glow on her face would radiate out and reach out to everybody. But most importantly, each day was nothing but a blessing. One day, Maya was sitting down and having coffee with her friends, laughing and talking like women do. Someone cracked a joke. And suddenly, Maya realized that she had leaked because she laughed too hard. At first, she dismissed it. After all, it could be an accident. But then there was the other day. Maya was busy gardening when a wave of fresh air blew past her. Achoo! And Maya realized she had leaked once again. But this time, there was no coincidence. Maya was ashamed and embarrassed. She soon stopped exercising. She stopped playing with her family and friends. She lost a smile on her face. She lost the glow. And soon, Maya started losing the heart of herself. Urinary incontinence. It means the involuntary leakage of urine. Around 10% of the population is affected by it. Women are 4 times more likely to have this disorder. 200,000 New Zealand women have this condition, and yet it goes unnoticed because of the massive social stigma it has associated with it. This is a picture of the female bladder. The bladder, as we know, holds the fluid, and the urethra is the tube via which the fluid flows out. And I'm going to demonstrate this by using a balloon. So, if this is the bladder, now during bladder filling, the bladder muscles are quite relaxed. It's the urethra, which is the tubey end here, which is clamped off by the sphincter muscles. It's only when we choose to void that we release. My area of research is to do with stress urinary incontinence. And this means incontinence caused by exercise or activity. Now, as we go about doing our daily exercises, like we're coughing, we're laughing, we're jumping, or we're sneezing, we create an increase in our intra-abdominal pressure, and that's pressure inside your abdomen. Now, this pressure is translated on the bladder, as you can tell. But if in some females, the bladder muscles or the urethral muscles are not strong enough to oppose this pressure, so what we get is involuntary leakage. Now, can you imagine the lives of women who are affected by this disorder? Someone like Maya, who gives up a social life. And it's embarrassing. Women lose their character, they lose their personality. They're scared to talk about it because it's almost a taboo in society today. And this is where urodynamics comes in. It's about measuring this intra-abdominal pressure, about measuring the pressure in your bladder, so we can make diagnostics. We can understand what causes incontinence and how can we treat it. And I'm going to demonstrate this in my very own clinic here. For the next 5 minutes, I'm going to be Dr. Anuprita, wearing a super special lab coat. And my patient will be mine. So, in a urodynamics clinic, what happens is you have a sensor which is inserted up the rectum to measure intra-abdominal pressure. And I'm going to imagine this goes inside Maya. I will also pass one out to the audience so they can have a look at it. Now, this rectal system goes inside the patient. She's connected to it. And she's connected to this pressure transducer. This is like a pressure measuring device. And she's connected by a long water-filled tube. This is now connected to a computer where I can watch my pressure signals. During urodynamics, what happens is the patient is to do a couple of activities like coughing or jumping. So we can estimate what pressures and what activities cause leakage. I'm going to get Maya to do a series of coughs, small, medium, and big, and you will be able to see it on the screen what the pressure signals look like. Small cough, medium cough, and big cough. As you can tell, Maya cannot take those pressures, her bladder cannot take those pressures, which is what causes leakage. Now, there are quite a few problems with this rectal system. As I said, the patient is connected, the sensor is connected to this pressure transducer via these long water-filled tubes. And that's where we get the problems. First of all, we have motion artifacts. If we move the wires too much, the pressure signal changes. If there are air bubbles in the system, if the clinician is having a really busy day, they're not going to check it properly. But that causes inaccuracies in our pressure readings. You have peristalsis, or spectral contraction. It causes interference. Most importantly, that pressure sensor going around goes up a very uncomfortable hole. And most of the patients are elderly females who often complain about this procedure being uncomfortable and sometimes painful. So the clinicians at Milton Hospital, they approached us, and I'm from the Auckland Bioengineering Institute, to see if we can come up with a better solution. Now, we've known for a while that the vagina is an excellent spot for measuring intra-abdominal pressures as well. So what we have developed is this intravaginal pressure device. The way it works is you have the silicone balloon. This is filled with water. It has a sensor in it, which you can sort of see, and that's connected to this transmitter and battery. The idea is this part goes inside the vagina. This part is taped onto a woman's thigh. She's asked to repeat the same protocol, cough or jump, and we can then see what activities and what pressure causes leakage. The beauty of the system, wireless. See, all the signals are transmitted wirelessly to a receiver in a 10-meter radius within the room. Also, the shape of this device is made to follow the contours of the vagina. It's made from a material, silicone, thin and compliant, which aids in comfort and also retention. And this is what my project has been about. It's been about developing this device so we can take it into the Urodynamics clinic and hopefully one day provide an alternative way of measuring intra-abdominal pressure. And hopefully replace the rectal system at least for women. So my job has been to redesign the balloon. I have been looking at ways to probably make this a little bit better. What I have worked on is reducing the length of it so that we have no interference from pelvic floor muscles, any interactions. We have no interference from that. I've also been looking at making the production of these balloons a little bit easier and faster. The previous method we used, it took about a day to make one balloon. Now, with the new machine we've bought, one balloon takes about 7 minutes, so it's reduced the production time by at least 100. Future work that I have yet to do with this device, I now have ethics to take this device into a proper urodynamics clinic and test it in 24 patients. Our idea is to have the rectal system in the patient along with our vaginal sensor so we can estimate how these two compare. We can see how our device fares in terms of retention, in terms of comfort, in terms of measurements, so we can fulfill our dream of providing an alternative system. I'm also looking at building a charger so we can charge our device wirelessly in the clinic. I'm looking at building a user interface so that without a collection representation, so what I have is my own system as opposed to a rectal system. I'm also looking at better ways to connect my sensor to my balloon. Our main idea is that these sensors are actually $4,000 each. So the tubing and the balloon is what is disposable. So what we are aiming to do is have like a click-on system. We provide the clinic with the balloon and the tubes, and all the nurses have to do is put it on the sensor and it's good to go. But we're still not there yet. We're still using ties and glue to put it all together. So that's another area where we really have to work on so we can actually make this a commercial device. Finally, I'm looking at standards and regulations which are necessary to take our device into a proper commercial market. To conclude, we have successfully created a prototype to measure intra-abdominal pressure. It is a long shot, but our aim is to one day replace the rectal system with our system so women can have a slightly better experience. Now just to summarize, you say what? I say pressure device. You say repair? I say shove it up there. And you say why? Well, ladies, it's because we worked it. I would just like to take 2 minutes, first of all, to acknowledge the Bioengineering Institute and the professors, and also to thank Dr. Patty for being live tonight. It's not a very easy job.